Is Calvin Bennett. Does his mic work, Devon? Perfect. And we are here for the first of many ASEOU forums where we have one presidential candidate and 6 senatorial candidates. We're very excited. So I'm going to hand it off to the candidates here in a second. Their first question is, what is their favorite memory at EOU? And a quick introduction. All right, first up is Senator J.W. Dippold.
My name is J.W. Dippold, and I'm currently running for senator at the moment. I served as a senator last year. I was born and raised here in Eastern Oregon, and I'm currently going into my senior year here at EOU and majoring in the AE, or Ag Entrepreneurship program. And I'd have to say my favorite memory at EOU is the AE trips, getting to experience all sorts of different kinds of agriculture that doesn't really exist here in this valley, getting to hang out with people also in my major and just be able to meet people in the industry. So that is my favorite memory here at EOU, is the 2 AE trips I've gone on. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Timothy Fecht. I'm from Lovelock, Nevada. I'm at EOU majoring in history. And Jay, did you turn off the mic? We're all good, everyone. Mic is still on. My favorite memory here at EOU has to stem all the way back to my first week here at EOU and the week of welcome.
My name is Dory Marchessault. I'm running for senator. I'm going into my senior year, and my majors are business administration and marketing. My favorite memory at EOU is just like hanging out with my roommates. We go to like games and shows and stuff, and it's pretty cool.
Hello, everyone. My name is Isaac Ensko. I am currently the Senate Chair of the ASEOU government, and I am running for President of the ASEOU government. I majored in Ag Entrepreneurship with a minor in Economics. And if I had to pick my favorite memory from being a student at Eastern Oregon University, it has to have been this last choir show I just participated in. I got to stand on a chair that I thought was going to break the entire time, which was awesome. And yeah, getting to sing a country song has always been a dream of mine in front of a crowd, so kind of accomplished that, checked that off the bucket list, and yeah.
Okay. All right, hi, my name's Elena Robison. I am currently a junior, and I am from the Seattle-Tacoma area. I'm a marketing major and communications minor, and I am running for Senate. My favorite memory so far during my time here at EOU has actually been my first year in ASEOU when we did the first Car Smash event. That was super fun to both be on the planning side of it as well as the participant side, and it was really fun to see the student involvement and the excitement that we got from it.
My name's Katira Phillips. I am a senior here at EOU, soon to be a super senior because I'm going to go get my master's in behavioral health and counseling after I finish up my public health degree with a concentration in community health. I'm currently the secretary on Spiliai, and I think that is my favorite memory because we get to raise awareness of our culture and all that fun stuff. We brought a bunch of artwork and did some dream catchers and a chapbook workshop. And it's just, we get to go to powwows and we get to eat Indian tacos, and I'm big on Indian tacos.
Make your life simpler instead of coming back down. I can just ask you the next question.
Hit me.
Awesome. In student government, you are expected to address the needs of many different student populations. How would you go about addressing the needs of students with differing views?
So I feel like when it comes to differing views, you can't be entirely closed-minded. If you need to listen and understand what they're trying to say and get the point across. You can't just listen and then be like, well, that was nice, and then take nothing from it. So you have to be willing to compromise. You need to be flexible, and you need to just I don't know, I think sitting down and discussing the conversation is a lot easier in person than rather over text, but we also have a wide variety of online students. So being able to communicate through writing to other people is a very important skill as well to have, and I feel I possess those traits.
This topic is actually something that I've had a lot of personal growth about during my time here at EOU. I personally have a lot of different political views than a lot of people here at our school, and is something that I struggled with in the beginning, but I have grown to understand that just because somebody has a different opinion than yourself doesn't mean that they are absolutely evil and the worst person ever. And I have learned that like having discussions is very important rather than arguments, and there is definitely a difference between arguments and discussions, and arguments get you nowhere and discussions actually get you somewhere. And so it's important to understand that you think you're right and they also think you're right, and it's important to come to a compromise by having those discussions and just having a mutual understanding and respect for each other.
This is a very exciting topic, and I would just like to state that Senator Elena Robinson couldn't be further from the truth. She has grown quite a bit. We both started our journey as members of the ASEOU government the same year, and I'm very excited and hopeful that we get to spend our last year together. And I could just speak from my own personal experience. When I first started here, I was a little bit of a hothead when it came to some topics, and it took people like President Alexa Jameson, President Caitlin Ceballos, and Director of Finance Drew Lusko to have talks with me and teach me how to communicate my policy without sounding like, and please excuse my French, an asshole, which is something that we need in the presidential position. You have to be able to put yourself in another person's shoes and try to experience life from their point of view. Going through life just within an echo chamber is not healthy. It's not healthy for our campus, and it's not healthy for your own personal growth. And as president, I'm going to make sure that when we have Senate meetings, when I speak with people on campus, that they are feeling heard, not just listened to, but heard, because that is what is most important.
All right. Well, I think that everything that was said was really good. But personally, I love to talk and I love to have conversations. So I feel like that's a big part of it. I feel like you can figure out a lot in a conversation. So that's my answer.
I'm back again, y'all. I swear. I can talk in front of people all day if I have to, but the second there's a camera, it just gets rough. Calvin, thank you for this question. It's obviously a really important one, and it's also one that I find to be pretty simple in my philosophy to approaching it, because when you come to college, coming from a small town myself where everyone kind of fell semi in the same line, you start to meet people who have differing opinions, coming from different backgrounds, cultures, ways of life from yourself. And my way to make sure everyone feels heard is just to open your ears, listen to what everyone's saying, and approach it with an open mind. Really, just you have to try your best, and I know everyone will have troubles doing it completely, but you have to try and cast aside your own bias and open up your mind to taking in new ideas that you may not have ever considered before.
I agree with Senator Fecht there, of coming from a similar small town background and just focusing on listening to what people have to say rather than just looking at them and being stubborn and going, their ideas are wrong, I refuse to listen to it. And just the power of honest, good conversation where both parties are respectful and willing to lend a listening ear to each other. just to keep it simple, I agree with most of what everybody else has said here, just the power of good conversation. All right, President Bennett, what's the next one?
If elected, how would you keep students informed on issues and events happening at the university?
So that's been a topic in our current ASEOU, and we started hopping on with the info line and sending out a message to students' emails. So I would plan on continuing that trend, get better about posting different things around campuses, utilize social media a little more, make announcements on there. So overall, just continue the work already with the info line, continue the work on social media, and continue the work through posting those posters and just word of mouth in general. Thank you.
Apologies, baseball season hasn't started yet. My knees and back aren't in quite umpire shape to go back down again. So to approach the idea of keeping students informed, having a couple years of experience in ASEOU as a senator and now as a director, I have a feel for what I believe the best course of action is, and that is senators, they have a role of word of mouth and visibility, and for keeping the students informed in the mainstream, it all comes down to including your director of campus affairs and letting him or her carry the brunt of that workload as is their job description.
No, we're not going to do that. I think word of mouth is great, like Tim said, and I would really like to be a part of making the social media better so that people get informed by that, because I know, like me and my roommates, we get so informed by social media. We hear about events, and that is a great way to let people know what's going on.
All right, y'all. Student government this year has done everything we possibly can to get the word out, from printing flyers, from sending out emails, but I think I have the solution. I don't attend anything unless it is on my Google Calendar. My Google Calendar dictates my life. We need to find a way to get our ASEOU events on people's Google Calendars. I think that's a great way to get students to kind of know what's going on, just because I know if it's not on my Google Calendar, I don't look at it, and from listening to a lot of my peers, having it on your Google Calendar is important. And I agree with all the statements that have been made that having it word of mouth and being visible on campus is important. Talking to students, telling them about events. I think we could even go an extra step to where, if I am elected president, I want to have our student government start to actually go into classrooms and talk to students. There needs to be more of it. There isn't much of it right now, and we need a lot more of it. I bet you right now a lot of students don't even know who their leadership is, which is not only a mark on my career as a senator, but a mark on everyone's career. And I want to ratify that, and I want to make it better. I want to start having more appearances in our classrooms, telling students about what is important, what's going on around campus, and how they can get involved. I think that's not only going to increase President Ryan's goal of campus vitality, but also increase ASEU's goal of campus visibility.
I totally agree with a lot of that's already been said. And I do think this is an aspect that we have been lacking the last couple of years. I do think that the info line is a great step towards fixing this problem. And I definitely think that's something that we should continue to use regularly and hopefully every week on Fridays. But I also think that social media is a huge tool that we should be using that we are not. Last year we had a really big goal of trying to get more followers on Instagram, and we did a really good job of that, I feel like, but we haven't really posted much on there for the followers. And I think that's something that we could improve on. I also do think, though, that traditional advertising is super important too. So by flyers, word of mouth, that type of stuff stuff is also what works really well on our campus, since we are such a small community here on campus. Word gets around fast. And so I think both using social media and word of mouth is really important.
So I agree with everybody. I think social media is a huge impact, especially with this day and age. I mean, we have the technology. It's free. It hardly costs anything to make a post, and it reaches so many people. When I decided to run for senator, I posted a picture on our Snapchat story, and it got over 400 views, and all I had to do was press like 2 buttons. It's quick. It reaches the masses. It's efficient. I've had 7 years as a rodeo queen, and as a rodeo ambassador, your job is literally to raise awareness about your rodeo, and I've done it for 5 different organizations very successfully. Flyers, standing in lobbies, passing them out to people as they walk by. Classrooms is another good one. Work with our administration. Like, our professors are here to help us succeed and in the future and encourage our goals and our dreams. So why not include them in the little things? I'm sure they'd be more than happy to support some of us. So of course, social media, emails, and we need to do something to make emails more like catch people's attention when you send them too. We get a lot of emails from like the bookstore and all these things, and I don't know about you, but what I do with my emails is I'm like, not important, not important, not important, open, read, goodbye. And so being able to make our emails something that people want to read and making people aware is vital, and I feel like I have the skills to help promote that if elected. Every time.
Right? Okay, you ready for the next question?
As I'll ever be.
Perfect. What issues do you intend to address on behalf of the students?
So last year, what I learned, this is my 2nd time running, and I failed last year, so I used it as a great learning experience. And I'm back again because I'm determined and stubborn. So what I would do to help, obviously retention is one of the biggest issues we had last year, and it was something everybody agreed upon. But what I didn't quite agree upon is they were like, retention's important, and that was that. But how are we going to fix that? Nobody really said that. I think Senator Insco went down, he was talking about community, and I do agree that, because why would you want to be on a campus you don't feel you belong, and why would you want to be in a town you feel like you're a stranger and like you're isolated, you're alone? So I feel like we could improve retention rates by making this a place people feel accepted and heard. Don't let them feel judged or anything of the sort. We want to make sure EOU feels like a home. My great-grandpa was a math professor here and brought the first computer to this campus, and my dad graduated from here. I'm legacy, and I want to continue to encourage people to come to this college and stay and get their degrees, not transfer out. And part of that is helping people feel like they belong here and are a student, and that this is their second home, and they make memories here that they can share with future generations.
All right. I don't have like a very specific issue in my mind right now, but something during my career in ASEOU, I have always focused on trying to give a voice to those who don't typically get one in our university. Like I mentioned before, I have a different political belief than a lot of people, and I think that's an advantage to myself because I'm able to represent those people through me and giving the voice to them, and I think continuing that is super important and making sure that they are given a voice at the table at least.
For my own information, could you repeat the question again, please? Sorry, I had to do it.
Intend to address on behalf of the students?
Perfect. It's issues. Now I can go into my list. So my very first one, of course, is enrollment and retention. And something that the student body government this year really wanted to focus on is that our ASEOU government lead by example. And you can see that being expressed within our SFC budget. If you would notice, our student body government is dry bonesing it when it comes to our funding, because we wanted the institution to dry bones as well. to deal with the debt that we have been dealing with. And I'm very excited to see that our current president, Ryan, is taking initiative and addressing this issue, because that's what we as student government body have been advocating for the past few years. And then the next issue I would want to focus on behalf of the students is our university's marketing. It needs to be improved. We have so many unique things about the area we're in and the university we're currently serving in. Eastern Oregon University is Oregon's real university, and that's where we pull a lot of our students. And I also like to just give Eastern a pat on the back of how many international students we pull here as well. Those numbers are pretty crazy compared to other places in Oregon. Most of the time you wouldn't think that Eastern Oregon University in La Grande, Oregon, the Grand Ronde Valley, pulls as many international students as it does. And that is something I want to advocate for. And as well as getting more rural students here, because it is a rural environment, it is more friendly to them. It's not like Portland, where all of a sudden you go from living where Calvin lived with 100 people to a few million. Yeah, no, this is the perfect place for someone like Calvin and I. So those are definitely two issues I'm going to tackle. The next issue that I really want to focus on is civility. We need civility when it comes to how students interact with not only its leadership, but the fellow students around them. I was very sad to see that there were bias incidents in our dormitories, and I think that needs to be addressed. And I also think it's sad to hear that there's been students attacking people within student government, within administration. I think that needs to be addressed as well. There shouldn't be any slandering going on at this university. If we have an issue, we need to sit down and we need to have a conversation about it. We can't just attack each other behind closed doors, send out threatening emails, write very inappropriate jokes on boards, or do very inappropriate things to students. It's not okay. And as president, I'm going to be the loudest advocate for civility on our campus.
That was a lot of points. They were good, though. They were good. I liked them. Okay. Well, I don't have any specific issue I'm going to highlight right now, but I think it's important to know that you don't have to be a trailblazer to solve problems. You can join a group and just be a part of the solution, and that's kind of what I want to do. I want to join the Senate and be a part of the solution, not really come up with my own ideas if I don't have them, and just make decisions that are best for the collective.
All right. Well, I'm going to start off with my big, broad issue, which is retention. I think it's been touched on a few times, so I'm not going to go too much into detail there. My smaller personal issue is kind of a moot point now because it already has occurred, but I'm going to want it to go even further, and that's the past 2 years when attending these forums. Did we have it 2 years ago? Yeah, it was online. I was a big advocate for expanding the marketing, for trying to bring in more rural areas outside of Oregon in. And I believe there's untapped potential there, and I've put that on the back burner the past couple of years, which leads me into my third point, which is I don't really have issues that I care about enough to put in front of those that students approach me with. Because the true spirit of being an ASEOU senator is being a voice for the student populace. And I think when the students themselves approach you as a senator, and they approach you and they say, hey, Tim, this is something I'd like to see. It's my duty and responsibility to present that above what I was running on, above my preconceived plans for what I wanted to accomplish. It's truly what the students want. It's not what I see as wrong, it's what they see as wrong.
I would say personally, one of the bigger issues that I want to address here at EOU is retention. As many of my fellow candidates have spoken on, it has become an issue here at EOU and with enrollment rates dropping. And so I want to be a part of the solution of continuing to make sure students want to stay here. Build that sense of community that makes it so some of the best friends that I met during my freshman year don't leave when we enter our junior year. That I can continue to build upon those friendships and continue to keep those great people here at EOU and help to improve it. A lot has already been said on this topic, so I won't go into it any further, but retention and community and making EOU feel like a home away from home for many. Absolutely, I am.
What is the greatest asset you bring to the table as a potential future senator? Okay, just do that one.
I would say one of the greatest assets that I bring to the table as a senator is a mix of my work ethic and humor. I try and keep a grin on my face at most times and kind of bring some light into sometimes difficult and awkward conversations. And as well as that of my work ethic, being able to put my head down and grind on whatever project I need to accomplish in order to help better represent ASEOU, the students who look up to us and we serve, as well as just our campus as a whole. So overall, just my humor and work ethic are what I feel like I bring to the table.
I can attest, working with JW for a summer, dude outworks me by 100 times and is probably 5 times funnier. I've got to give him a shout on that. As for my answer to this question, I'm fairly certain that my greatest asset has not been discovered yet. And that's because if you take a look at me freshman year to where I am now, I uncover new talents and new abilities that I bring into the table every year. And EOU has been a place where I have matured as an individual and really grown as a person. And I hope from a self-improvement standpoint that I continue to do that into next year. And I hope that the skills I uncover next year turn into the skills that can really help me boost my level as an ASEOU senator.
Well, go down. I think the greatest asset that I bring to ASEOU is that I put full effort in the things that I do, and I have a lot of time on my hands, so I'm pretty much willing to do like anything that needs to be done, and I'm a really good listener, and I love doing what people tell me to do.
Comes to the presidential position, the greatest asset I bring is experience and an understanding of how ASEOU works and an understanding of our shared governance. So when I say I have the most experience with an ASEOU, what I mean is I've been in almost every position besides the presidency. I've been the Senate chair, I've been a senator, I've been a justice. When it comes to all the documents within our student body government, I have played in every single one of them. And when it comes to shared governance, I have served in almost every single one of our shared governance committees, that from UC all the way down to student affairs. I'm even the chair of the student affairs committee today. And then another, just to add on top of that I bring to the table is an open door. You know, a lot of times it's nerve-wracking to go and talk to your student leadership, you know, and I think something I pride myself on is my approachability. Even though I am tall, kind of a giant, it can be intimidating, but I tend to be pretty friendly, like not too scary. I've met some students like, we didn't talk to you because you're a little tall and intimidating. I'm like, okay, but I'm kind of a cuddly teddy bear at the same time. So that's also what I bring to the table is people's ability to approach me.
Okay, similar to what Isaac was saying, he mentioned earlier that we joined ASEOU the same time during our winter, or was it the end of fall term? fall term of our freshman year. And so I think my greatest asset is that this will, if elected, this will be my fourth year as a senator, and I think that's pretty cool. I think I kind of know what I'm doing by now, and I wish to continue to know what I'm doing if I'm elected. And I just understand how ASEOU works. I have been able to see what they've done in the past and know not to make the same mistakes that they made, or how to do the same things that they've done in the past that were great successes. And I think that is really valuable.
While I may not have experience as a senator, I do have 7 years as an ambassador representing organizations, and so therefore I do have experience in representing people and what they want projected out and brought up to a higher level. I do feel I'm very well accomplished in that, and so that is a big asset I bring. The other asset I bring is I'm very kind, I'm very approachable, I'm honest, and like I said last year, I failed at this. I did not get elected. And I think that's why you should elect me this year, because that shows that even with failure, I am willing to come back again and again and again, so that the topics that are important to you, if it doesn't go through the first time, it's not my grave. I'm not going to lay in that bed. It's not done. It's not over with. And I am very, very passionate about that and will always stand up for what the students want. No.
Slay. All right, you ready? Cool. Do you have any problems with any of the services EOU provides?
So this year, I was supposed to be done with all my credits in the spring, and I had an advisor go out on maternity leave. She's got a cute kid, let me tell you. And I was told to take some classes I probably didn't need to take as a senior that were like 100, 200 levels. And now to finish my degree, I have to take just one class in the fall, and I would have really liked somebody who was filling in for my advisor to be a little more knowledgeable so that that didn't happen, because now it's postponing my master's degree a bit. And that is frustrating because I do get a lot of grants and stuff and scholarships, and that extra year is going to be full of fluff because I have to be a full-time student. So it's wasting some of my money for my education, which I feel is important.
All right. I kind of have something similar. I'm actually going through a struggle right now with my advisor and trying to figure out class schedule. And it's been very frustrating because it's been very hard for me to get help and talk to somebody who knows what's going on and who can help me. And basically what's going on is the classes that I need just aren't getting taught in person. And I'm being forced to take them online, but I can't afford to take them online because they are quite a bit more expensive. And I don't have a couple extra $1,000s I could just throw out of my pocket because I'm a broke college student. And I think there's a lot of miscommunication in that area, and just having enough people that have a basic understanding of the academic process here at EOU. I also think there's a couple other services that could use some help as well, like the bookstore. I know that's been a hot topic recently because nobody really uses it because they're expensive. And I think I stepped foot into the bookstore twice my freshman year and never since. And so I think that is a waste of space right now. That could be a really great asset to us as students, but it's just not being filled to its potential right now. And so I think there's many resources that on campus that aren't being fully used by students because A, they either don't know about them, B, they're not completely well thought through, or C, there just isn't enough help to get them going. And I think those are really important things for as students that we should care about, being able to get help. We're not here alone, and the staff are here to help us, and I think that they should be helping us.
So when it comes to problems I see with services for students in Eastern Oregon University, I just want to point out how happy I was to advocate for the Smart Stop for students, especially because it's going to centralize the students' services when it comes to financial aid and student affairs. I think that's super important, and it's going to kind of alleviate some of that stress that might come with being a first-generation student. You don't know, you've never been on a college, your parents don't exactly know how to help you. Finding a way to alleviate that stress and fear is something very important to me, and I'm going to continue advocating for a Smart Stop here at the university, just because I know it could be what keeps a student here and what makes them go home. The simplest thing could get a student to be like, you know what, I'm just not ready for this. I need to go home. It's safer home. And I want to alleviate that stress, and I want to alleviate that fear for our students. And then on top of that, I'm not 100% certain if this is a service that Eastern Oregon University provides, but when it comes to our Sodexo contract, there's things I want to change on it, especially when it comes to clubs on campus being able to have outside vendors. I don't think it's appropriate for Sodexo to have first call on everything, especially if the students aren't happy with its services. I don't think that's right, especially if clubs are using their own funding that Sodexo is receiving. I don't think that's fair, and that's something that I would like to see changed. And then the next issue I would like to just address is I would agree with Senator Robinson when it comes to classes being online, but I believe it's important for us to recognize that as a university we have limited resources and we have limited faculty and staff, especially when it comes to our classes. And I just want to shout out Dr. Chad Mueller. I've never had any issue with him as an advisor. He's kind of the best there is. #true. And when it comes to our online classes, while they are frustrating, it is most likely what keeps our departments moving, because in our AE department, Chad Mueller is the only professor for any ag entrepreneurship classes, and there are tons of classes to be taking, especially for that degree, and Dr. Mueller cannot teach every single class, so having that online option is important. Even though it does suck, it is important in making sure that we can get our degrees on time. And while I would like to continue advocating to get more professors and faculty and staff, we need to work on our our retention and enrollment first. Once we get more students here, we can get more faculty, we can get more staff, and we can solve that problem.
For my first point, I'm going to piggyback off of what everybody else said, because we are all in student government, so we have similar goals. I love the idea of a Smart Stop. I was a transfer student. So so it was really annoying when I came in. I had to bounce around and figure out how to get everything started and going. And because I wasn't here, I lived 7 hours away, it was very difficult. And so I think it would be really great to have one place to go. And then for my second point, this isn't really a service, but I think it would be great to kind of make our Hoke Student Union better, because every student has come into Hoke unless they're a fully online student. Like, some students don't go into certain buildings. Like, I've never had a class in LoSo, but I have been into Hoke. And so I think it would be great if we can make this a better place for students, more accessible, have better things, definitely make like Mountie Cafe and stuff better.
Well, last time I have to get up here and talk in front of y'all tonight. That's always a bonus. JK, love you all. So I'm gonna have to play the piggyback card and say that I love the idea of the Smart Stop. And now I'm gonna have to play the practical card and say that when I look at EOU and what it is, being a small university with low enrollment comparatively to the rest in Oregon, I don't really notice too many big issues. I kind of see the opposite. I think EOU is doing great for what we are. We have so much that is so helpful. I loved my advisor. It sounds like I might be kind of against the norm there. Maybe I got lucky. And I love my faculty advisor. because Professor Howard isn't kind of the best out there. She is the best out there. Hashtag very true. And furthermore, when I look at the services we offer that really stand out, I'd just like to leave with a couple that really impress me. And that is, A, my love-hate relationship with the Student Health Center. I just hate them because I don't like going to doctors and stuff. But I love that they're there and that they're there to help us. And the second one I notice is right on the second floor of Hoke, and that is the Student Affairs Office, pairing with the SCMA and Multicultural Center. And these are great services that I don't really see when I walk through a student union building in other colleges I toured. Like UNR, don't get me wrong, I don't hate UNR, but I also don't notice Multicultural Center as the first thing I see. And their student affairs, even though it's kind of new this year, isn't right up in there. So I love how EOU is set up. I think we're doing a good job with our services.
I've just got one simple issue, and that's the fact that vending machines are still cash only. You spend all day on campus, it hits about 6 o'clock, you haven't had dinner yet, and you're like, I still got one more class, one more meeting, let me go get a snack, and you realize your wallet's at home, all you have is Apple Pay, and you can't get a snack. And it may seem simple, but I feel like it would really help bring students together knowing that that bag of Doritos is right there whenever you need it. And so there was a lot of very important issues addressed, but that's one simple thing that I feel like can make students feel more at home and want to stay here, is just improving the vending machines and the availability of quick, easy meals as college students. So with that, thank you guys for sitting through our forum, and I appreciate you watching, and please turn out on Election Day. I'll turn it over to President Bennett for a final few words. Thank you.
Awesome. Great job to everyone who attended. We will have a forum here soon, and make sure to watch this on the Mountie Network. Is that right, Devon? Mountie Network. Make sure to vote. Voting will be available on Canvas next week. So, Andy? Do you guys really want closing statements? Okay, and now candidates, if they want to do a closing statement, may proceed to do so. All right, Isaac.
All right, sounds like I get to make a 30-minute closing statement. Just kidding. All right, well, I just want to close this off by saying thank you to the Elections Committee for giving me this opportunity to come and stand before everyone, and I want to say thank you to the AV team for getting this wonderful setup. This is truly an honor to be standing in front of all of you, and to be able to even run for this position to advocate for our students' needs is honestly super important, and it's a great honor. And I hope that I'm able to serve all of you. I'm hopeful that I'm able to serve our Senate, and I'm hopeful to meet some new people along the way and take the lessons that I've learned and instill those lessons in students that take the mantle up after I'm gone. So I ask that you please vote Isaac Insko for your ASEOU president.
All right. I didn't really prepare anything. I just would have felt a little bad if I hung out Isaac as the only one with a closing statement. So that's about all I really had planned. I'd appreciate your consideration in this upcoming election. Hashtag Tim is him. Tim's out.
All right, Devon, we could cut after I say mount up.